selector, rewind selector, rewind selector, rewind selector, rewind selector, rewind selector.
That's what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys. What you talking about?
All young men with suits and ties, just sitting in the crowd smoking big cigars. I hope you're ready for what's coming now. I'm the one, I'm the lady that will bring it down. There's a joint on the corner where the big boys play, where the whiskey's running like the river, but they all never come for the booze and bass. I'm the one, I'm the lady that'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place.
Okay, now, from the beginning. There's a joint on the corner where the big boys play, where the whiskey's running like the river, but they all never come for the booze and bass. I'm the one, I'm the lady that'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this Okay, now.
Are you ready? Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector.
Welcome to the IPA Champions Cup, live on Sporty Stuff TV.
Well, a very good evening and welcome to day two, Group 3 of Sporty Stuff TV Champions Cup. We've got some real good matches tonight. I think there could be a shocking store tonight. With me, my old pal, the best pundit in the game in Paul, Mark Pickworth. Good evening, Mark.
Well, you've nicked my line already, haven't you, Gary?
There's only two of you we have in here, but you're the governor. How
Yes,
are you?
good
You
evening.
all right, mate?
Yes,
Yeah,
all good, thank you.
Yeah.
A bit of a not a great night last night. I mean, there was some good pull, but Liam Dunsey didn't have it all his own way, did he?
Yeah, it was good for the punters, so they lumped on. There was all the bookies were only laying one winner of the group, but the matches, that last match last night, must have saved the bookies a fortune, that draw.
Yeah,
No
it
one
must
backs
have.
the draw, Mark. No one.
No, well, I know they don't, but it's always a possibility.
Yeah.
I think we could have a few tonight.
I think there could be a few shocks here. Well, we'll talk about that later. But our four players this evening, you're going to talk us through them?
Yeah, so we've got Chris Kingham. He's the amateur qualifier. He finished number 22 on the amateur rankings. Just missed out on the pro status, but he'll be trying again next season. And if you think what he did in event 1, he beat Clint Janssen. So he's no stranger to this.
Then we've disappointed with Chris, really. I thought he'd bring me a bit of Brighton rock, like, you know, that's what
well, you'll have to have it out with him.
Yeah, we'll have a rock the next time if he gets through to the final.
Absolutely. And then we've got Ryan Clark. He's a very dangerous player, and he's one player that probably could sneak into the top 10 in this coming season. He's pretty much, you know, I know the stats might not say he's in form, but I can tell you he gets to semi-finals and quarter-finals for fun this season.
One of our betting partners made him favourite to win tonight. Now, I looked at another betting partner early this morning, and we had the banger. He was odds on, so a bit of difference there. We'll talk about that later.
Okay then, and then we've got Jamie the Shark Clark. As we know, he got through in the group stages in event 1, and could he cause another upset? I mean, I'm not sure the bookies have learnt from the odds when we look at them from last time. And then Tom Barley, he's the favourite to go through on some of the betting partners, as you've already mentioned, the banger. But I really think his style of play really suits this format. Yeah, but
I think the bookies have got the right favourite. Some of them have, but to make Tom odds on tonight, I think it's wrong. He should be bigger than odds on. I really do. But last night we was on the prayer mat, weren't we? Halfway through last night.
Well, there was a few on there
to get the winner last night. But some good matches tonight, isn't there, mate?
Yeah, there really is, and some of them could be a bit closer than expected. And don't be surprised if these outsiders like Jamie Clark and Chris Kingham cause an upset, because they're more than capable of doing it. Yeah,
we're going to have a look at the odds now. What we got for as we see, Chrissy Kingham 6.5 to 1. I got up this morning. I thought I couldn't believe it. One of the firms went 10 to 1. Chrissy Kingham to win tonight. I thought that was miles too big. Ryan Clark 13 to 10. He was his favourite, as you see here on these price with one of the betting partners, with another betting partner. As I said, Tom Barley's odds on, and Ryan Clark 7 to 4. Then you got Jamie Clark 5 to 1. I've seen as big as 7 to 1. Jamie should never be 7 to 1. You know, look what he did before. And it was day 2, wasn't it?
It was.
When he landed
it was 8 to 1.
Well, 8 to 1 now. And our favourite tonight, we've got Tom Barley here. Well, say favourite. I don't know. He should be favourite of it. He's 6 to 4. But really and truthfully, the betting partners, they don't know tonight. If you study and have a look, and honestly, they don't know. There's so many price discrepancies here. Chrissy Kingham, 10 to 1, ridiculous price mark.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the amateur qualifier. As I said, number 22 on the rankings. Look at that win-lose record. That's not to shy away from. That's pretty good. 8 wins, 2 losses, 56% in 2021, 59% in his career. He's new to the IPA. He's had his first season. He'll be wanting to turn pro next season, and I'm sure he will. He's a great player. He really was.
Ryan Clark, who's favourite in some betting partners, then his second favourite.
Yeah, number 16 seed. I'm expecting the Punisher to probably be knocking on the door for the top 10. Win-lose record, not that great, 5-5, but it's okay. 57% in 2021 and 66% in his career. It looks like he's out of form, but I can tell you, in this season, he's had quarterfinals, semi-finals appearances.
Jamie Clark, you know, as I said, he landed 8 to 1 shot before. Can he land it tonight at 7 to 1?
Well, he's done it once. There's no reason why he can't do it again. And number 27 seed, these stats aren't great reading. They're really not. But we saw what he did in event 1. He caused an upset there, and he could well do it again tonight.
The Shark.
Yeah, and he's a shark for that reason, isn't he? He really is. But, you know, the 2021 percentage, 25% and 27% in his career, definitely not some of the best percentages we've seen throughout. But percentages sometimes mean nothing.
And how about Banger Barley?
Well, Banger Barley, I really like the style of play he brings to this tournament. And anybody that's not watched Paul, they'll be really sort of impressed the way that he goes about. And just don't blink, because you'll probably miss a clearance. Number 20 seed, 29th seed.
Can't believe that, 29. He should be higher than 29.
He's just had 1 year, though, in the pro ranking. So now it's a 2-year ranking list. So I'm expecting him, we'll see a good reflection of, you know, where Tom Barley is. I'm probably just outside. Maybe just outside, but he's more than capable of getting to top 16. Yeah. He beat the world champion at the reigning world champion, John McAllister, at the World Championships. So he's no stranger to beating top players.
And we've got an odds-on chance in our first game this evening here. Chrissy Kingham against Ryan Clark here. Bookies make Ryan Clark thinking about 4 to 5. You get 3 to 1, Chrissy Kingham, and there ain't that much out between them, is there? These two.
there isn't that much in between them. But I think Ryan Clark is a bit of a slow starter, and we might see that in this match. Yeah, and Chris Kingham, he's got nothing to lose. He's the outsider, and he might just do exactly what he did to Clint Ianson in his very first match in Event 1.
And all these lads tonight, they've all been here before, haven't they?
Yeah, everyone's been here. They've either played in Event 1 or Event 2. You can't be in Event 3 if you haven't played in that. So they're used to this studio setting now. Everyone knows.
And don't forget our Sporty Stuff TV. We're coming on live tonight at 9:45, 15 minutes early. And, talk us through this one, mate.
Well, Jamie Clark against Tom Barley. They are the two favourites for the group on pen and paper, because Jamie got through to the group stage, the semi-final stage last time, and Tom Barley got to the Event 1 final. So that's the reason why, on paper, they're the two favourites to go through.
Jamie Clark is...
Yeah, no. They are on paper because of what they did in this tournament in Event 1. Right. So that's the reason where Ryan Clark and Chris Kingham, they never got through to the semi-final stage, where these two players did.
Well, Tom Barley's odds on 4-5 to beat Jamie in that match, on first match at 9:45 on Sporty Stuff, and look forward for that one as well. But we've got 6 matches tonight. I think it's really tricky tonight. I really do.
Yeah, it is. It can be, and don't be surprised if there isn't any draws tonight.
Just going to put our match odds up here on the board. I want you to pick out one match that you think is a bit of value tonight for the punters back home.
The draw for Clark and Clark.
Clarky Lee Clark.
Yeah, Clark draw.
Draw 5-2.
Yeah.
That's what Mark picks as they're named in the game. Anyway, we've got our top referee. Well, they're all top referees in the pool game, haven't we? But North East finest, Mr. Brian Moss. Good evening, Brian.
Good evening. Welcome to the Sporty Stuff TV Champions Cup Event 3, Group 2. Starting off with Chris Kingham versus Ryan Clark. And Ryan's going to get us underway, and he's going to have to do it all over again because he's knocked the black in straight off the break. So welcome to this evening's edition on Pancake Day, of course. And one man who self-proclaimed makes the best pancakes in Berkshire is Dan Davey, and he joins me in the commentary box. Good evening, Dan.
I do. Don't laugh about it. It's true. I do make the best pancakes in Berkshire. So yeah, it's a no laughing matter. But yeah, looking forward to tonight. What do you reckon, Dan?
It's so tough to call. It's so tough. I mean, I think there's a clear gulf. I think Chris Kingham, Jamie Clark, they've probably got their work cut out. Ryan Clark, Tom Barley. It's between those two for me as a coin toss. But in these short races, anything can happen.
Yeah, and I think we saw Jamie Clark first time around really enjoy himself being underdog, didn't we? And won his group at 8-1. And I don't know. I think some people like that mentality, didn't they? Like a little bit of a, almost feel like it's a free hit, not too much expected of them, but deep down they really believe in themselves. And I know Jamie does. So yeah, I think we see Chris Kingham as well, the outsider for this, the amateur, but he beat Clint Ianson first time round, on the big stage. So I think we could be in for anything tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to go down to the wire.
Extension, please.
Ryan Clark, I saw he posted a little Facebook status, a social media status about this tournament earlier. And, he said, I hope I can get a few balls on off the break. Hasn't gone that way for him to start with. He's gone dry after that re-rack. So now Chris Kingham can come to the table. And, it's not a bad chance, but these yellows are a bit clustered up, Dan.
Yeah, messy table, you'd call it. Nothing necessarily needs to be cannon, but you'd need to be a couple of real pinpoint positional shots to land on one of these yellows into the right middle pocket. And that the two reds at the top of the table are just getting in the way from them. So that's what's going to stop Chris from sort of clearing these up. He has got an angle now, though, to go into them. I think he's got the perfect angle, really. So it's all about how this comes out.
Yeah, I think under normal circumstances, or had that angle not produced itself quite so kindly, he might have chosen to do the more Liam Dunster-esque route and just pick them off. But I think as that angle lended itself to that shot, it gave him the opportunity. If this cue ball's come far enough, that's a really nice shot, but it's really tight.
Yeah, they came out really well, actually. So, played the cannon well. I mean, it was almost unavoidable. He was always going to get the cannon. But they came out pretty good. And like you say, I think he's definitely underhit it. It's just whether or not he can get there and hold the cue ball, which he's done. So, they sprung a couple of upsets in his first time round, Chris Kingham. Is he going to do it again?
Nice shot there. Just dug into that yellow. Get the cue ball back out without flicking the other one. If he flicked the right hand of those two yellows, he may have ended up in trouble on this shot. But the black clearly passes to the left centre as well.
Yeah, must also go to the corner.
Yeah, it must do. I didn't think it did from this angle, but...
No, he's deceived me as well.
He's got the better view.
Commentary box, but yeah.
Frame.
Great start for Chris Kingham. He leads Ryan Clark by a frame to 0. Ryan will be... He'll be a bit gutted, won't he? The first break he made, he got the black in, had to re-rack. Bit unfortunate when that happens, and then you come out dry next up.
Yeah, we talk about the ball gods. Always seems to be the way. Needs to just not let it get to him. I think he's probably the first guy to admit he's a bit of an overthinker. Beats himself up a little bit too much, maybe. Early days. I think me personally, when I'm playing tomorrow in this, I try and tell myself that 2 wins and a draw is going to get me through. So,
Frame two.
just make sure you get to at least 3 frames in the first one. Keep yourself in
1
it.
frame to 0. Time running.
Such a brutal format. It's a lot easier said than done in these short races.
Yeah, wise words. Just get yourself to 3. Ryan Clark may not get that opportunity if Chris Kingham keeps breaking like this. That is a quality split.
Really hit them hard. It's as good a break, as good a connection as you're going to see from the break.
Extension, please.
Yep, that's the first part of the job done. If Chris can take these out, then it will unsettle Ryan Clark a little, I suspect, because it puts so much pressure on Ryan's break. And, well, he made that joking reference to it earlier on social media, but it was only half a joke. I think it's, in his opinion, one of the weaker sides of his game.
Yeah, but he's in, and he's gone for reds. They're all sort of in the open. They're covering each other a little bit in the middle of the table, but it's a chance. It's another good chance. Could be 2-0 up in a minute or two's time. And yet to put a foot wrong, he looks confident again.
Yeah, this feels like a key shot. Just getting position on his next ball. That's pretty good. He can just drift this into the bottom left and cue ball will come nicely through that gap between the reds. Once he's in there, he should be gone.
Yeah, slightly hampered queuing. But if this goes well, which it has, he must have a nice angle on his third last red. So
that's 4 straight shots from here.
Yeah, it's a very good start. Sort of starting a little bit from where he left off in the last group stage. Didn't quite make it through, but did a hell of a lot better than what certainly the bookies thought he was going to do. And really impressed me, I think. I'm not too surprised to see him start like this.
No, I mean, he started like a train in that match. I'm fairly sure I'm right in saying the Clint Jansen match was the only one he won in that group. And that was his first match. And it was a real shock to the system for, I think, every single person. I don't think Chris would think that was an unfair comment. But
no, I think he was 2-0 down, wasn't he? And just reeled off 4 in a row, I think. And
Frame.
Just fearless.
Fearless indeed. Chris Kingham leads Ryan Clark by 2-0. Ryan yet to see the table apart from a break. It's a perfect start for the man from Brighton, way down in Sussex, my home county. I don't actually know Chris that well, despite the fact that we live. He probably lives closer to me than almost any other player on the tour.
He actually told me, this is your fairly close by, he just tries to avoid you best he can. I don't know
well, who could blame him?
Yeah.
To be honest, if he plays like this, I'm quite glad he avoids me. Because, I'm not a fan of getting dished up all the time.
That's the only time he does want to meet you is when you're in a tournament. I don't know why he said that as well, but...
No, it's funny. It's weird that he would say things like that.
Frame 3. Ryan Clark to break, trailing 2-0. Time running.
Well, Ryan Clark 2-0 down and hasn't put a foot wrong. Hit a decent break, didn't make a ball, finds himself 2-0 down. It's tough at the top.
That one's better. Oh, no way. Wow. This is going from bad to worse for Ryan Clark.
1 free shot, 1 visit.
This is a disaster of a start.
Time running.
Yeah, very harsh. Very harsh there. Hit a decent break. I mean, he's hit the break really well. Controlled the white okay. It's gone towards the corner, but it's fine. Just got kicked in off. Always seems to be the way when you're chasing a match. And Chris Kingham in it again for a fairly easy chance for 3-0.
I love that opening pot. Just taking on the plant, taking the no danger in it, of course. It was the right shot. He had his free shot. It was the shot that opened things up. I love that he's just gone for the straight plant. Didn't sort of dolly the black out into open play or anything. Just positive, confident cueing.
Yeah, just shows he's sort of thinking clearly. He's fairly confident, and I suppose so. You should be 2-0 up. Played 2 perfect frames.
Fair to say that he hasn't had to work for his frames just yet. And that's, I think, where you often see the difference between a very good amateur like Chris and one of the top professionals is it's not taking these out. Most of the amateurs in the game would take these out 9 times out of 10. It's when things start to get sticky. It's when the cue ball starts to run out of position. The professionals are much better at pulling it back.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, from the looks of this as well, he isn't going to be able to get as close to the black as he wants. So it's just all going to be about how what angle he leaves himself in his last red as to how close he can get to the black, because that certainly can go wrong. So he needs to be careful with that.
Not the best shot, that previous one. I'd have thought he wanted to be a bit straighter on this red. Pulled it back nicely. But yeah, it's a bit of a risk reward, this, isn't it? From getting from that last red down to the black, how close to it do you want to get? Do you just leave yourself on the side cushion and make sure you leave yourself a shot? Or do you come down table and try and get past that yellow? That's a big risk. But if you land on the black, it's unmissable.
Yeah, and I thought he might have, I mean, it's too late now, but I thought he might have, when he had 4 or 5 reds left one of the 2 reds closest to the middle pocket as his last ball, but he's gone this way. And that is very nicely controlled. Very confident positional shot to play.
Yep, left himself a bit of a blind pocket, but no worries at all for Chris Kingham. He strokes in the black. He leads by 3-0. Ryan Clark is in the unenviable position where he could lose this game by 4-0 and not see the table.
Well, I mean, hats off to Chris Kingham. What a start.
Absolutely.
He's
been phenomenal.
Flawless, and I think it's easy as well to say that, well, he hasn't had much difficult stuff to do, or he hasn't had it, and he hasn't had a clearance where he's had to break a ball off the side cushion, play a miracle position or developing shot. He hasn't had to do that, but it's still a hell of a lot easier said than done to pick them off one by one, control the cue ball for the entire clearance, no lapses of concentration, especially when you're on TV. He's done it well. He hasn't put a foot wrong so far. That's off.
Frame 4. Chris Kingham to break, leading 3 frames to 0. Time running.
Chris Kingham approaches the table for the break in the 4th frame. Made a ball, he's made a couple. He's got the chance to run out the perfect match. It's probably the trickiest table he's come to, Dan, but there's a good opportunity there still.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the most difficult table he's ever going to have to go at. I think he's got no choice but to go
Extension, please.
Yellows, for mainly because there isn't really a red at all he can go at. A very thin clip on the one at the bottom, maybe, but if he goes yellows, the one in the right middle is going to give him a chance to break into his problem area. You always want to do this as early as you possibly can. He's done that, and he's come out okay. He wanted a bit of angle.
Yeah, he's a bit straight on that one in the bottom cushion, isn't he? And he's going to have to leave himself probably a tough shot next up. But if he gets the next couple, you'd fancy it.
I think he's going to go back down to it.
10 seconds.
And attack it later. Awkward cueing as well off the side cushion, so he's got a plan B, which was the one in the middle, but there it is, your first mistake.
Frozen ball.
And what an opportunity it leaves for Ryan Clark. It's one that he needs to take.
Extension,
These Reds are sat there for a player of his quality. Could that be a turning point?
Well, it needs to be. He's at the point of no return already. And a draw. I mean, if he loses, he's got a chance, but you lose 4-0. And if you don't win it, a frame difference to get through as a best second place in the group is going to be difficult if you lose your first one 4-0. So even if you can just nick 1 or 2 frames here, and anything's better than losing 4-0. But obviously he's got his eyes on the draw. A draw and 2 wins is going to get you through. So we'll see how quickly these matches can turn. I fully expect him to get these.
Yeah, you're right. Certainly in this first phase of the competition, every frame really does count. Ryan's just confidently mopping these up. Be interesting to see how Chris recovers from this. It's not a nice feeling when you miss a chance to win a match like that. And to be honest, Chris had actually done the hardest of his work with the very first shot of the clearance.
Yeah, you're still going to have a couple of tricky positional shots to play, but nothing that was going to be ridiculously difficult.
Frame.
Either way, 3-1.
Ryan Clark gets himself on the board and off the mark with that counter clearance against Chris Kingham. And it'll be Ryan to break next, and this is, I think, the true test of whether the momentum in this match has truly swung, whether Ryan can make a ball off the break.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's hit them well enough. I can't say he's broke great. I mean, look at Chris Kingham's first 2 breaks. Like, hammer breaks. Absolute, like, so much power. The difference between the way the pack splits between Chris's 2 breaks and Ryan's is night and day. So, you know, I mean, that's a big part of why he's 3-1 up. But needs a ball off this break and needs to not get unluckily kicked in off the corner pocket again. Otherwise, it could be curtains.
Frame 5. Ryan Clark to break, trailing 3 frames to 1. Time running.
Ryan staring down the barrel. in more ways than one. Oh, he's made a ball, yes, into the right centre. Drops that yellow. That's an unkind place for the cue ball to land, bearing in mind where everything else has gone down.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those. If the white was centre of the table, he'd have his choice. He'd have his pick of either colour, but
Extension,
you want to avoid being welded to that sort of top and bottom cushion. Amazing the amount of times it seems to happen. But first up, I mean, what's he got? Can't see anything.
Not much. I don't think he can get through to the red to the right centre. I mean,
He's got a difficult cut, top left corner pocket into on the yellow. It's just very harsh.
oh, what a shot that is. Where's the black? It's that was dicing with death, but he's got away with it. And Ryan Clark keeps his place at the table.
Very good shot, though. Really good. Very creative. Billiard shot into the middle pocket. Had to come up with something.
He did. It's not gone that great for him, though, has it? The reds are... I think the one over on the left-hand side, the big pocket made by the yellow, is probably helpful to him. But that is a long way away. Here's the first shot of this clearance.
Extension, please.
It was a tremendous shot. But it might be to no avail. Chris Kingham gets his second chance to win this match. Actually, yellows are pretty good here, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, even the yellow over on the right-hand side, I think it will drop into that right middle pocket if he gets on it nicely, but it's also quite an easy double if he can land on it good. He's just over on that one slightly. He might now have just dawned on him that if he'd have played that as a stun, he could have just doubled this yellow on the right-hand side and got that out of the way, but everything else goes, so it's at least it's more than a half chance to win this match.
I do wonder if that's down to the grip on the cloth. Oh, my word.
Foul.
That's brutal.
Yeah. Look, it's harsh, but that's the problem with having to rely on going into balls. If he'd have just played that previous shot, that previous plant that he played, and stunned the cue ball, kept it where it was, he could have been playing a double, which... I don't care if he likes playing doubles or not. He'd have been 8 or 9 out of 10 to get the double. And if you compare that to the shot he's just played, the likelihood of it coming out nice is probably more like 5 or 6 out of 10. So maybe might be being a bit harsh there because it was unlucky to get kicked off, but you don't want to leave yourself trusting to any luck at all if you can.
He put the yellow safe as well with that shot. It wasn't a very good shot at all. But I do wonder, when you're talking about when he should have stunned it, I do wonder if that's got to do with the reactivity of this cloth. There was a shot a couple of frames ago during one of his clearances where I felt he should have stunned one. And I just wonder whether he's got an issue where sort of stunning and screwing.
Foul.
What is going on here? Is there a magnet in the pocket?
Well, you see the side there as well. So that looked like that was for all the world just hitting the jaw, but because he's played that with right-hand side, the running side, so to speak, has flung it in off the side of that, off the jaw there. If that had gone into that jaw plain ball, it would have rattled and stayed in the corner. So it's it's not been a great start for Ryan Clark. He's been a bit unlucky to start with, and I suppose you could say that was a bit unlucky as well, wouldn't it, really? He's gone into it quite nicely. In theory, if you want to be ultra-critical, you could say, well, he should have been cannon in the middle of the three so that the white was staying in the middle of the table or going up towards the middle pocket. But, I mean, we're being a bit harsh.
I think, to be honest, the problem was actually the free shot he played after Chris's foul, where he pushed that red red and yellow together. And all of a sudden, he had a problem to solve, which was of his own making. Chris Kingham, though, he won't care. This long yellow, this drops in, which it does, barely. He's got the chance to take this match by 4 frames to 1. One more good positional shot here.
Yeah, if he hits that any harder, that doesn't drop. Just about played it at the perfect pace. Awkward cueing, but, you know, you can overhit this. Don't underhit it, Chris.
Oh,
he's tried to pinch a bit of the pocket and go for... I think he's changed his mind last minute and thought he could pinch a bit and go through the gap that he's gone through, but by doing that, he's missed it thick, so it makes me think, I don't know if that was actually even possible in the first place. Originally, he was looking at going over towards the right-hand middle pocket and threading it down that side of the table, but I think he's changed his mind on the shot there. It's cost him pretty dear. I mean, the alternative as well, Dan, is he could have just dropped that in and left the cue ball roughly where it is now and taken the black long.
I think, given his time again, he would have chosen any other option but the shot he took on. But that is what the shot clock can do. These players have 30 seconds per shot. He'd already used his 30-second extension in this frame. And it was probably that pressure in the end that was telling. And Ryan Clark, at the third time of asking, can get this frame 1, take us to essentially a decider.
Frame.
It drops. Ryan Clark pulls back another frame, but Chris Kingham will have the break in the 6th and final frame. He will have the chance still to go ahead of this group after the first match. He's played well, Dan, but he'll be disappointed now, I think, regardless. I mean, if he comes away with a 4-2 victory, he'll still be happy, but I think he was eyeing 4-0 after those first 3 frames.
Yeah, and you need to sort of stick the nail in the coffin when, well, all times, but especially in short formats like this. He started so well, and he's had 3 chances in the previous 2 frames, and he's found a way to mess them up. He's going to be feeling great out there now, so he needs to put that to the back of his mind, remind himself of how well he started the match.
Frame.
He's obviously cueing well.
Chris Kingham to break.
Another massive break will be the first order of the day.
Time running.
Oh, he's kept the cue ball on the table by the barest of margins, but he's kept everything else on the table as well. And Ryan Clark out of his seat like a whippet. He's already studying this table. He wants this point. He knows that it keeps destiny in his own hands.
He hasn't hit them as well, but he's not caught them anywhere near as flush. Still got an awful lot of power behind it, so got a decent split, but the white almost went straight into the middle pocket. It's just at the jaw. So a bit of tension in the arm maybe that wasn't there the first couple of breaks when all was well. A bit more pressure now. Ryan Clark's in first for what you could argue is actually an unlikely draw from the way that this match started.
Certainly. I think that's another interesting point as well. We talk about players like Chris Kingham, the amateurs that have come into this competition and fought so hard. But they do come into this competition with no pressure on them. They come into this competition
10 seconds.
Not expected to do well. The bookies have shown that with their pricing. When they find themselves in a position where they're 3-0 up, that's when all of a sudden they start to feel all of that pressure.
Yeah, and I think you can also say it's a little bit of when you see, say, like Chris, a top amateur, when you compare him to a top pro, a seasoned,
10 seconds.
I mean, consistent winner, a Dunster, a Hibbert, a Clint Hansen. Oh, that's gone wrong. These guys that have won many tournaments, they make a mistake and then they don't make another one for another 4, 5, 6 frames. And I think as you go down the rankings a little bit, you see people tend to, when they make a mistake, it gets to them a little bit, and they keep making mistakes, 2, 3, 4 frames on the bounce. You see it quite a lot.
Understatement of the century there, I think, Dan. It's gone wrong. Is this going to go right? No, it isn't. Chris Kingham, surely now he has to take this opportunity. Ryan Clark, I mean, again, it was one of those, wasn't it? It was a little unlucky, but he's chosen to move the ball and it hasn't worked out for him.
Yeah, and I think looking at this immediately, the 2 yellows at the top of the table, I don't think they go. So he's more than still got a chance in this frame, Ryan. You see Chris has tried to play it off the side cushion with right-hand side to check it up and break them out, and he hasn't got that. So delicate little snooker to be played here.
He can put him in a world of pain here, surely.
It's a delicate little one, though.
Oh, he's played it really nicely.
Total snooker.
Yeah, very good. And now, I think the one closest to the baulk line definitely goes. So if he does get his 2 shots, he's isn't necessarily going to have to use it to develop those 2.
No. Oh, how's he missed everything there? That's unbelievable.
Foul.
You'd struggle to do that again.
Time running.
That's a crazy gap he's hit. Off the cushion and,
Extension, please.
He can't have missed either of those 2 reds by very much at all. Chris Kingham will not get a better chance to get the points on the board.
Time out.
He's got a decision to make here about that yellow on the right-hand side.
Time running.
If you're right behind that, you may be able to drop it into the pocket, but you're not going to be able to do a lot with the cue ball. So if you left yourself a nice angle, cue ball slightly further over to the right than the yellow, and you could just drift it in and drift across for one of those yellows in the bottom half of the table, then that would work out quite nicely. Is he going to try and move it? That's a lovely, lovely controlled cannon.
Beautiful. Really well controlled. And there was his plan from the start. You could see he took the first one, deliberately left himself the angle to do that. And it's one of those cannons that, because he's playing it with running sort of right-hand side, as long as you play it at the right pace, it's really hard to see how it can go wrong. Because even if you catch it thick, you're probably leaving it into this bottom left corner. He's just played that one in. Really impressive, this, from Chris. I mean, he's, all right, couple of mistakes the last 2 frames, but he started the match like a train, and he's finished it off really, really well. Very good clearance and a really impressive performance.
He's had a good chance in every frame. Chris Kingham has taken 4 of them. He beats Ryan Clark by 4 frames to 2. He is the first person in this group across the winning line. He may have put the cat amongst the pigeons with that performance. Let's see what Gary and Mark have to say about it.
Yeah, we thought there'd be a few shocks tonight, didn't we, Dan? And we got the first one of the evening there, haven't we?
Yeah, straight off. And he's done exactly the same as he did to Clint Irons in his very first match. I did say, don't be surprised if this lad does exactly the same thing, and he's done it.
I think the boys on the commentating there as well. I don't think it was that big a shock, was it, really, Mark? Because this boy's come here before. He's done it before, hasn't he? He's a top amateur. And I'll tell you what, if he does turn professional, I think you could be in trouble here, you know, coming against him.
There'll be a few
good match, weren't it?
Yeah, it was. He started off like a rocket. He could have easily won that match 4-0. He had chances to win 4-0. He'd be pleased. I think he's just started to feel it a little bit as Ryan was coming back at him in a bit. But he's held himself together. Yes, Ryan's had quite a few in-offs in that match. And how Ryan is now going to respond to that would be very interesting to see what he needs to do.
Is that normal, Mark, for Paul? Because I heard Dan say when you get an amateur free up, all of a sudden, bit of nerves creeping. Is that normal, like in the game of pool?
Yeah, because you're trying to push yourself over the line, and it's quite natural to be nervous because you can start overthinking things, and it makes you play the wrong shots at times.
And Ryan Clark is a big name, isn't he, in the game?
He is, yeah. He's a number 16 seed on the IPA ranks. You don't get to the top 16 for any reason. You really don't. He's had to earn his space there.
good start to the evening. So don't forget, we're back on Sporty Stuff TV around about just about 10 minutes time. And we're at 9:45, about 15 minutes time. So time to put that kettle on. We'll see you in 15 minutes time. Bye-bye.